Welcome into Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. And last week was a big one. This week is too. It's Yukon on the docket this time around. Coach Travis Hill sitting across from me. I'm Dylan Rivera. Looking forward to this one. But before we get into the Yukon game, we got to go back to this Owasso game.
Yep.
And the first thing I got to ask is just your initial thoughts in falling to the Rams.
It's a frustrating night. You get district play. Yeah, you're kind of sitting where you want to be. You know, I believe it's 2-1. You'd much rather be 3-0, but you feel like your football team's improving, and especially coming off a bye week. Mm-hmm. You know, things don't come to fruition like we always like in life, and so basically the thoughts are very, very poor job coaching, get our kids in positions to be successful. So again, it's time to go back and go to work, and here we go.
That game had a lot of chippiness, and understandably so for
Absolutely.
a lot of the players and what was going on around that game. But how do you try to let those guys still play with an edge, but also make sure it doesn't get out of hand?
It's just a communication thing all week. I mean, you know, you've got to say, and I say, what? I know this really sounds kind of negative, but, you know, what we don't know, we don't know. Mm-hmm. So that means you're doing it right, whatever that is, okay? But if it's there, then we got to dismiss it. So our kids have done a good job in the 4 ball games that we played of playing it, at a high level, on edge, all the explanations you want to put there, all the adjectives you want to put, but they've kept it under control and within the boundaries. So again, we started off the game on the first drive with an unsportsman that I thought was somewhat unnecessary, and then we had another one later that as we talked post-show here, or should I say pre-show, that was probably one that you would live with week in and week out. So outside of that, we played really well in that area. Obviously, there's other areas we did not, with all the other mistakes we made, pre-snap mistakes, down in and down out, whether that be alignment and things that you're not penalized for, but yet you are, but you don't see, much less the offsides and everything else. So lots of things that we got to correct and do a better job with.
You brought up 4 games into the season now. Mm-hmm. You're almost at the halfway point.
Absolutely.
So I want to zoom out a little bit, and we'll get more into Owasso here in a moment. Mm-hmm. But from a larger scale, has there been any player so far this season that's impressed you or maybe surprised you with their play?
No, I think there is. But I want to say I kind of look at it a bigger picture as a team. Mm-hmm. And I really like the way we've held together these first 4 ball games. Mm-hmm. I think it's unique. There's always in the point of a season where there's a crossroads. Mm-hmm. I think we're at it right now. Mm-hmm. I think we're right there where you're going to go one direction or another. So I think we're in good shape across the board with our kids. Does Noah Gillespie impress me? Absolutely. Am I surprised? Not really. Mm-hmm. No. I mean, I've seen him. He's a young man that's new to our program. So they know him inside and out. We're just now getting to know that, okay? Mm-hmm. And we're just now establishing that type of relationships. But he still played extremely well. He's one of the better corners that I've been associated with, and have been fortunate enough to be associated with several excellent kids that played that position, guys that played in the NFL and everything else. So he's done a great job, unique. Samaj Stanford, no-brainer. Mm-hmm. Obviously a great football player. Again, I don't know that he's done anything that's impressed me because I expected exactly what we got. He's a great football player. But I do like these things. And I really think that our offensive line, which I never had question about their ability, but had questions about will they pull together and will they become a unit? Because that's really 5 kids that you're talking to being one. Mm-hmm. And I think that they have, and that's a point we need to hang on. Now, we obviously got to say whoa before the pre-snap, okay, because we're jumping off sides. But I do think that unit, and I really believe this, offense wins games, mm-hmm. defense wins championships, but offensive linemen also win championships. So trenches win championships. So if that group will continue to come along, that's an area that I think we can control a lot of what we do and make us better. So I'm very impressed with Caden Moody, J.J. Brashear, Silva, our young freshman Devin Smith, and Isham that are starting soon. I think they're doing a great job. And I'm going to give, so surprised about something, I'll do this, and I'm not trying to be dismayed. Birch, okay, Preston Birch. Why? Because, he's been here for 3 years. He's been on the field 3 times because of other issues. He's handled them all. He's our starting tight end right now. That's great stuff. So there's a lot of positives with our start. Now let's see, like I kind of mentioned, Dylan, we're at the crossroads where we go from here.
Yeah. Well, I like that you bring up, some of the players are still getting accustomed to being here at Broken Arrow. It feels like because you've been here for almost a full year. We're getting closer and closer, right?
Absolutely. January's coming.
Yeah, and then the players that have been in this program, you kind of think, well, they've been here a long time. They're accustomed to Broken Arrow, but they're getting accustomed to you. And then you've got players that are coming in the spring and in the summer, and it's kind of changing things up, and you're still probably learning about the guys themselves as they're going out there on the field, whether it be in practice or in games. So is that something that you're still finding yourself adjusting to a little bit?
Absolutely. And like I said, it's just I don't want to use this on the new era. It's just, as I mentioned, we're 4 games in, and yet we're making mistakes. To me, if I'm up in the stands perceiving and being Coach Hill, but not Coach Hill on the sideline for the Broken Arrows, we're not being very well coached. Okay, I said I wouldn't necessarily bring that up. But it's the truth, and so there's some frustrating moments, and I'm sure that is for the kids too at this time. So those are just things, like I said, that are frustrating. But it is just, you think there's a big answer to it. The big answer is just go out every day, go to work on these things, and practice is where you identify. I mean, you identify it at games, and that's where you identify and go out and say, what are we doing in the practice to make sure we don't do this in the game. So I really feel, like I said, this is a crossroads when we head down to Yukon this week for us to be able to put all those things aside that we've fumbled and stumbled with. And you got to remember now, we're 2-2. We've done a lot of good things too, okay? So you can see the positive sides of it, all right? But put it all together, play complementary football. That's been a big language in our jukebox this week, okay? Complementary football. Defense, get off the field, give offensive ball. Offense, stay on the field. Special teams, don't screw it up, okay? So with those things being said, we look forward to it, Dylan.
Yeah. Well, and you had mentioned before the show that you don't want to look too far to the future, and I don't want to do that either, but you and I were both at the freshman game against Jenks the other night, and, it was a great game, but, we got to see some of the younger players really show out and show what they can do. So I do want to point out, I think it's only natural that sometimes you look at the freshmen and the sophomores and you see who's coming up and you get excited about them. Is there anybody in those 2 classes that really sticks out to you?
Well, you just look at I just mentioned the freshman that's playing for us right now. So he's not getting an opportunity to play on Tuesday nights for the freshman team. Devin Smith's an unbelievable athlete, offers all across the board already in the offensive line. Corey Sango, our sophomore tailback to go along with Octavian, is unbelievable. Joseph Williams, freshman wide receiver that suits up and plays a lot of varsity games. Olin Wallace, the other wide receiver. I mean, I could go on and on and on. There's a lot of talented football players at that level and at our lower levels that are coming up that we look forward to. I know you're not supposed to do that, but we do. And I'll take it a step farther. Everybody says, well, you play Yukon, that's the only attention. No, I'm not no dumb. And we look ahead and see where our schedule sits. And I've told our kids that. So, and we want to be 8-2, and that's our goal. So how do you, but it's one step at a time, obviously. But to be 8-2, you got to really look out into the future, right? And so we're capable of winning these games. If we go do what we need to now, let's see if we can start the process with Yukon this week.
Absolutely. Well, it was a really close game against Owasso. Ended up being a 2-touchdown finish. We will review the offense when we come back here on Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib.
While you are teaching someone special the nuances of keeping the wheel steady, we can provide you means for you to maintain financial equilibrium. First National Bank of Broken Arrow. First people put people first.
Hey Tigers, I'm City Manager Michael Spurgeon. The city is preparing for the next general obligation bond election in April of 2026. Just like the improvements to Albany Street in front of the high school, bonds help pay for upgrades to public infrastructure like streets and intersections, public safety services, parks improvements, and more here in our great community. To find out more about the bond process, visit the city website. Thank you for helping us build our future. Broken Arrow, enjoy the rest of the game.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Dylan Rivera sitting across from head coach Travis Hill. Getting into the Owasso game now. That was last Friday night. It was 28-14 final. Another game where the offense falls a little bit shorter than the expectations, I would imagine. But where I want to point our focus to start is the 3 turnovers offensively. And maybe what hurt more than the actual turnovers themselves was the timing of the turnovers. A couple of those came in at times you really don't want to turn the ball over. You want to go down and get a score. So talk to me about those turnovers and what that did to your offense.
You know, it's the same thing I used earlier in our first section, complementary football. We're not doing that. Now, we're not helping ourselves out offensively again. X possessions in a football game, and you give up 3 of them by turnovers, okay? You don't win too many games like that, okay? 3 turnovers is that you don't want any. I've coached and played on several teams that have been championship-type teams. You don't have turnovers. You just it's like, how do you guys do that? You just don't accept it. That has to be done by a player, okay, that not making the mistakes, not taking care of the football properly at all times. Occasionally a turnover will happen with a great play by the defense, but those weren't necessarily great plays. Those are just us playing some sloppy football. Again, I'll point the finger. It goes right here. Timely, there's never a good time dealing, but you're exactly right. There's crucial parts of every game, and whenever that happens, exactly then, whenever momentum changes, momentum's such a big part of high school football. We just felt like any time we got it the other night, we gave it right back, okay? You know, them on their onside, because we're going to say we had 3 turnovers, but we had 6 because, you know, when you talk about the punts that they were able to keep possession of the football and then still one on the onside concept. So it's very frustrating, stuff we're working on. We do ball security and concepts every day. So, again, when are they going to show up on the field? And that's what we're looking forward to. But, boy, Dylan, they were. And like I said, you even saw me made comments again, some frustrations on my behalf. Just, golly, what? Not well done on our behalf. So we'll continue to work on it, and that's what we need to do, and we'll get better with it.
Jeremiah Satimba goes 15 of 23, 175 yards, throws 2 interceptions.
Yep.
How confident are you in him rebounding this week?
That's, you know, he's done it. You know, he's played a great game in game 1, and game 2 wasn't nothing fancy. Came back in game 3, played another great game. Here we are with this one here. You know, if you take away the 2 picks, Jeremiah did a lot of great things. I think you're going to have to, you know, do some rushing yardages, some good decisions, pulling the ball down and making some great scrambles, making some big plays. So, but Jeremiah knows as much as anybody, you're a quarterback. 2 picks is not acceptable, okay? And I see him bouncing back like he has. And now we got to get consistency out of him, not only just every other game, but every game. And I think that's the type of kid he is, and I think he'll rebound and do well.
Just out of curiosity, what's your relationship like with QB1? Because, I mean, you're a defensive guy. How often are you in conversation with him?
We're in conversation with him. You know, smart head coach, regardless of whether I work on either side of the football more than the other, you understand the whole complementary and team concept side of it. So me and Jeremiah have conversations quite often, at least once a day in the process of practice. If nothing else, just me giving him a hard time. I think most players have gotten adapted to that. I love doing that. It's called relationships. It's breaking the ice. But Jeremiah, I've challenged him with some things in the off season, January through, that I didn't feel like he did well. I'm not just necessarily talking about on the football field, okay? Just other little things. He's come out with flying colors. So I expect him to be able to rebound from these type of things and come back in flying colors and do a great job. But, yeah, Germs, it's as quick as I can. You come in January, and the first thing I do to the whole football team is there's no starters. And, by the way, Germ, you know, you'll play defense too. Everybody plays defense. Everybody plays offense. Well, what's that all about? Ain't it supposed to be fair when you come in? I'm new. So what am I going to do? Just say, that was the starter last year, he's the starter now? That's not the way that should be. Everybody gets an opportunity. It will sort itself out, and we will be able to make better decisions with that, okay? Yeah. Jeremiah went and competed. He was worried about that. Wouldn't you be if you're the starting quarterback? You know, and I think he says, hey, man, they were real with me. They made me compete. I'm a leader now because the team respects me. I earned it. I wasn't nothing given. And I think he'll respond the same way as far as his performance on the football field.
Yeah, I think that says a lot about his character and who he is off the field as well, as the way that he took that challenge on in the offseason.
Good stuff.
One thing that certainly you'd like to clean up is the false starts, 7 false starts, and that's something that is elementary. You'd hope you don't have to talk to the guys about it, but it's something that I'm sure was a conversation this week.
No doubt about it. So, again, just transparency. I mean, it's funny watching ESPN the other day, and they're talking about, I think it's the Jets 0-4. I'm not a Jets fan, but anyway, about how penalties. You know, what do you do to correct that? Well, you get officials to practice. But then the guy made a comment. He goes, all those are pre-snap penalties. Official can't help that. Okay. Well, same here. We got to help ourselves. So in practice, we put them down by the speaker, okay, to run their practice. Hey, Coach Wilkinson, have we been jumping off sides? Nah. Have we jumped off sides this week in practice? Nah. So it's just focus on game day. Okay. So that's what we'll continue to do and continue to work it and shift players on defense and make them try to jump off sides. But we're having success on Monday through Thursday. Let's put it together on Friday, and I think I'll be emphasizing the heck out of that, okay, before we go out on the field Friday.
One guy that we talk a lot about on the defensive side of the ball that also makes a big impact on the offensive side of the ball. He went 6 catches on 6 targets, 84 yards, Samaj Stanford. What does he add to you guys on the offensive side?
Well, a difference maker, a guy that every time he touches the football can hit a home run. And defenses hate that, and that's a guy you got to account for. And so he's doing his job. Makes our defense better, even though that's how does he do? Yes, because he's a player over there. No, because offensively, he gives us a spark. He's great to add in to go along with and complements our other guys. Makes them better too, not just because he's good, but because when he's out there, other people have a tendency to be open. So just keep doing what we're doing there. Just hopefully we can do it with more consistency, as I've mentioned before.
Yeah, and looking forward to seeing the impact he makes on the defensive side of the ball this week against Yukon. Should be pretty big because he's Samaj Stanford, and that's what he does. Should be a great game. We're going to talk about the defense of that game coming up here pretty soon, but we're going to talk about the defense of the Owasso game next on Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib.
All in all, there's not a better place to work.
Working at St. Francis is...
Working at St. Francis is...
Working at St. Francis is...
It's very fulfilling.
The work that we do is hard. The work that we do changes people's lives.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job.
It's more than a job. It's a calling.
It's time to update your kitchen, just for you. Kitchen Tune-Up will make your kitchen look and feel transformed. Let's create a kitchen that inspires and uplifts you. Kitchen Tune-Up. Update, upgrade, uplift.
Looking for some iced caffeine, left you in the cold. No one knows why brown water costs as much as liquid gold. Told him your name was Brian, why does this cup say Nicole? But then you found paradise in your cup at the Quick Trip. No regrets to start your day.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Dylan Rivera and Coach Travis Hill here, breaking down the Owasso matchup, and we are talking defense now. First thing I want to talk to you about is the play count. We talked about this after the Fayetteville game. It was 75 plays for Fayetteville, and that was an overtime game.
Right.
It was a defensive battle. Felt like it kept going back and forth and back and forth, whereas this Owasso game, it was 79 plays, and it was maybe not quite so much that defensive battle. So how do you end up getting to where it's 79 plays? How do you slow that down and bring it down to where you said it was like 50s or 60s, where you want to be?
That's where you'd love for it to be. Obviously, fewer snaps, fewer opportunities. And I think they had, like I said, 50 is really difficult, but in that 60 range for sure. But when you start getting around 80, and I think, Dylan, I counted 84. I'm not as professional as you guys are counting them up, okay? I just look at the film and look at there's 92 clips of defense. Some of those were special teams, okay? So I think it got down to 84. So anyway, 84 to 79, way too many snaps. How do you correct that? Well, let's just be blunt. We have 2 3-and-outs. They go to punt the football. Their punter takes the football and runs around the corner, okay, and gets a first down. So here you are on the field again. So that would go a long way right there, okay? If you could take the snaps, which I have not done, which will be now I will, Dylan, because you got my curiosity. What were the snap counts after that 3-and-out that they got after that on both punts, just to kind of just see where it was at? Regardless, they scored or what? Again, we can't. It's very difficult to be defense go score. Okay, your offense is sitting on the sideline again. You're getting fatigued, and I do think that showed up late in the game.
That's what I was going to ask as my follow-up question is how much do you feel like that wears on the players out there having to play that much?
Well, it does, and no doubt. And our defensive lineman got tired. Kudos to Owasso. The line of scrimmage was completely reestablished the second half, especially in the middle of the third quarter. I thought they come out the second half, and really did it to us the first drive. Then to turn around and get an onside and come at us again. So our kids got fatigued. There's no doubt about it. And the line of scrimmage was reset, and kudos to Owasso again, and the fact that they stuck with a game plan. They didn't have to get fancy. You know, some offensive coordinators, man, they get too itchy to sit in there and stay with something that's being successful and that slow win versus that, get after you. In other words, they just consistently did exactly what they did, which was with their counter, and did a good job. So it did wear on us, yes, very much so.
Second game in a row that special teams has come up here on this show and had to discuss, some issues there. How do you keep that from being a consistent issue? Again,
we readjusted. One area that we readjusted was our punt. I felt like we did a lot better job on that. Okay, our punt return, in this case, we thought we had some adjustments made, that we had some mistakes. I think oftentimes it's simplifying things, okay, and instead of complicating them. And, hey, here's a new look. Here's this. Adjust here. Adjust there. We got caught in some adjustment problems, and that cost us an opportunity to take an edge off of our punt team. So that being said, we've redirected that again. That falls in my hands now, Dylan. So I can make that a public statement right here with this right here. So whenever the punt team punt return does not do well, no reason to look down the sideline, find the head guy and say he doesn't know what he's doing. So we feel like we got that corrected. I've just gone back to some old stuff that we've always done that's been successful and simple because I'm a 2+2 guy, and hopefully that corrects itself again this Friday night. I hope, Dylan, we run punt return 30 times to be evaluated. Okay, I hope we're out there a whole bunch because we get a stop after a stop after stop. So it'll be interesting to see how all that pans out.
Well, that goes along with the giving up the 2 fourth downs, but then also there was 9 third down conversions for Owasso on Friday night. How do you get your team in a position where they can close out possessions? Because that's how you get that ball back and get some points up.
Absolutely. And, here's the deal. You go back to the first 3 games, the third downs are unbelievably the stat that we got, okay? We've been very successful on third downs. I think the difference in this game was the wear and tear, and these weren't 3rd and longs. These weren't 3rd and 7+ even. These were a lot of 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 2s, and that's a different monster there. As I said, the line of scrimmage was reestablished by Owasso, whether you like it or not. It is. Watch the film, watch the game.
Yep.
So for them to get 2 yards on third down or 3 yards, whatever they needed, or to have that in your playbook, so many options, okay, to pull from, that's what had a lot to do with it. And I just think, like I said, a good job by Owasso and a poor job by us. But that's the first time in the first 3 games that we didn't really establish we are the better team on third downs, getting people off the field. But in this case, it wasn't. And it obviously showed up late in the second half.
I was pretty impressed by their running back, Jaden Hall. I thought he played well, but also that goes along with the offensive line. But how much of their success in the run game was a byproduct of the snap count? And do you feel like it was maybe a combination of that and just their run game being successful?
First of all, our philosophy is always be stop the run first. And if we go to the first half, we really did some good things. He got out twice, one on a little stretch play and on one the counter that they killed us with the second half. 37 carries, 200 yards. A lot of carries, but still average per carry is well plus 5. So that's unacceptable. Excellent back. Told you that. Very patient. And we allowed him to be patient because the line of scrimmage was reestablished. So he was running up to the line of scrimmage, it looked like to me from the sideline, and obviously watched film, and sitting there, it felt like an eternity, okay, until the crease happens, and then he explodes through it, which he's really good at. I told you, he's a north and south guy. It kind of surprised me they ran the stretch a few times because that's really not his game. But, I know of 2 times he ran it. One was for 9 yards. I think the other was like 6. They may have ran it one other time, but I don't recall. So they, trying to keep you honest.
Yep.
But the rest of it was primarily their gap scheme, and they did a great job with it. And he was very, very patient with it. And boom, 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 and like I said, started off with those 5, 6, 3, 4, then turned into some 15s and 20s. as the game progressed. So, again, probably just as much on Owasso and some of our coaching points that they did a good job. And like I said, stayed with a game plan. They did not get off that game plan once they were having success with it. And a lot of offensive coordinators have a hard time with that. They okay, it's a different. I got to get them to get a different look. Well, if that look's working methodically, regardless, stay with it. And it did two things. They wore us down and kicked our butt. Number two is it kept our offense on the sideline.
Now, normally we talk about a JEI difference maker of the game, but we had to go with two JEI difference makers of the game. We'll talk about the pass game first. We went with Gaston Farrell there. It felt like they were really trying to throw it Gaston's way quite a bit, and he stepped up to the challenge and played very well.
Did, man. Like I said, I'm so happy for Gaston. Like I said, from a football player and a humanistic standpoint, he's just continued to grow. You watch a young man that as we come in, it's delightful to be around, but as we get into competitive situations, he fights a few wars. And to see him now winning those wars, okay, and it's personal stuff. I mean, he's doing a great job. So he's kept his composure. They went at him all night with double moves. He continued to just cut that side of the field out with Noah on the other side of the field. Great corner play, makes for good defensive stuff, gives us something really good to work with. So I've challenged him again. Can you keep up that consistent play? Can you do it week in and week out, day in and day out? And so Gaston Farrell, I'm looking at you. Great job. Just wonderful to see. That's what you coach for, to see young people step up to the plate, take on the challenges that the coach has given them, and did a great job for us.
In the run game, defensively, we stayed on defense just because there was 80 snaps. I mean, you got to stay on that side of the ball. But defensively, run game, we went with Malik Ross, middle linebacker, and we felt like he was involved in a lot of plays in the run game. And he is worth his weight in gold, isn't he?
He is, and everybody needs to know he played with an MCL sprain the second half. I'm going, and so Malik is just a warrior. He's good. He's a youngster, another young man that is just starting to come into his own. I mean, he's a junior. Gaston's a senior, by the way. Come back to Malik. He's a junior. He's growing, maturing, starting to understand the game of football and how tough it is to play middle linebacker, especially the way some of the things we're asking him to do. And they did a great job of taking advantage of some of that stuff, though, too. So, like I said, they're going to make us. Owasso made us a better football. Like I said, we made some adjustable scheme concepts that will help us in the long run and will help Malik, too. So, but fought his tail end off all night long against some tough odds at times, and just kept hanging in there. He's kind of like I said, he's kind of like felt like Coach Hill said before. He did a great job, but yet at times I think Malik probably felt like he was just hanging on with his fingernails. But he kept pounding away, and we definitely led our team in tackles the other night.
Yeah, he's a great player. Looking forward to getting him back in action here in just a short period of time. But looking forward to the conversation that Madison Dildine has with Gaston Farrell and Malik Ross as well.
Madison Dildine joined by senior cornerback Gaston Farrell. Gaston, what are your thoughts on your performance Friday night against Owasso?
I feel like I did great. I feel like they challenged me a lot, and I just had to wake up to the challenge.
What are you excited for looking forward to the rest of the season?
Just not to lose. I feel like we owe it to ourselves. We worked all summer, all winter. I feel like we owe it to ourselves.
And lastly, what's something that you're proud of personally from Friday night's game?
I feel like I stepped up. Like I played my role and I stepped up when I needed to.
We're now joined by the second half of the co-difference maker of the game, junior Malik Ross. Malik, talk to me about your performance on Friday night's game.
My performance, I would say, is pretty good. I could have done better, I would say, on my fits, but overall, I did pretty good, I would say.
Are there any areas that you're looking to improve as we move on in the season?
I'd say I would want to improve on my pass coverage. I want to improve on my pass coverage, definitely, and my finishing on the tackle, wrapping it out.
Lastly, what's something that you're proud of from your teammates on Friday night?
I'm proud of all my teammates, like Nate Jackson, Colton Barlow. They were they had my back, I would say, and they relied on me and I relied on them. Josie did really good. And Dagan McCluskey, he's my best friend. I love him.
That's awesome. That was your co-difference maker of the game, junior linebacker Malik Ross.
Thank you, Madison. Looking forward to this upcoming game against Yukon, a big contest for the Tigers to go on the road, and we'll break that matchup down next on Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib.
Get your taste buds ready, because we're bringing all the drip and none of the drama with our new sauced and tossed Tender Bites. They're juicy, crispy, and sauced like a boss. Bite into your new obsession. Only at Slim Chickens.
Hey Tigers! Get the only card that donates to Broken Arrow Public Schools every time you use it. TTCU Federal Credit Union has donated more than $360,000 so far. Support the Tigers with your card today.
Tulsa Bone and Joint, Northeast Oklahoma's sports medicine experts. We are pleased to help you and the athletes in your life with a number of surgical and non-surgical options. Tulsa Bone and Joint is proud to serve as team orthopedist for local high schools such as Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sapulpa, Cascia Hall, and Bishop Kelly. Tulsa Bone and Joint, moving life forward.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. Dylan Rivera, head coach Travis Hill. Last portion of the show, we're going to break down the Yukon matchup coming up this Friday, and it's a point where you said it's a crossroads. You definitely want to get a win here at a point in this season where you start to really get deep into district play. Going up against a Miller team that has given up a lot of points this season on that side of the ball, on their defensive end. So how are you looking to attack them, try to see if you can rack up some points this week?
Like I said, defensively, they struggle a little bit. I think they're sound with what they're trying to do, but they're not going to be quite as athletic as the 4 teams we've played so far on the defensive side of football. So hopefully we can take advantage of that, have some ideas. I kind of mentioned again, though, they're going to be a lot better defense if we give them 1st and 15. In other words, that's because we keep jumping off sides versus 1st and 10. It's a heck of a lot easier. Obviously, there's a reason why the game of football, established hundreds of years ago, has 1st down and 10 instead of 1st down and 20. Okay, it wouldn't be near as fun of a game. So with that being said, we got to make sure we correct ourselves. If we do over there, I think we'll be efficient. If we are efficient, we'll score some points.
You said this last week on Inside Tiger Football, so I'm not giving away any secrets here, but you said your philosophy is to establish the run. Is that still the same philosophy this week?
It will be. I mean, I don't think that's just a Coach Hill-led football team. I mean, Coach Wilkinson is our OC. He's going to do that too. I mean, we win a state championship here together as the OC in D.C., and we ran the football. Now, you do what your football team can do. We can throw it around the field. We got all that talent out on the edge too. So don't think we're one-dimensional. But you still establish and set up that game. If you can make them protect the box, okay, then we got a chance to sling it around and do some good things too. But we got to run the football, and that's where your efficiency comes in at.
Let's flip it over to the Tiger defense against the Yukon offense. One thing that I've seen just from my limited watching of film so far is they run the football, and they run the football hard.
Yeah, they got 2 backs. Again, I'm not very good with names on that stuff. Don't look at that, but numbers, of course, that's what football coaches do. Okay. Number 3 is a sophomore that's kind of taken over their starting tailback position. Really good back, physical up inside. The other young man's number 14, I believe, played quarterback last year. He's a starting linebacker. He's a 230-pound, I believe he's a state championship wrestler, and he's a moose, okay? So you got those 2 versions of tailbacks coming at you. You can call it thunder and lightning, whatever games you want to play there, but physical football, and they do a great job. Again, I mentioned last week, in Owasso with their little switchblade Army knife, number 5 for them, they got 86 and 89. It's do the exact same thing. It's the little hybrid position at the fullback. And they just do a great job getting that extra blocker in the box. I mean, that used to be called a fullback. He lined it up behind the quarterback, when the quarterback is under center. We don't play that type of football no more, so he lines up what we call a sniffer and on the line of scrimmage. So what he is a very athletic guard, both those kids. So they do a good job pounding you, and they're just so efficient. I talked about that earlier. Just so efficient with what they do. I've seen them punt the football in the last 3 games one time. They scored 40 points in all those. Just so efficient with what they're doing. So their confidence level's high. They're 3-1. It'll be a tough out.
Now, I've just seen a lot of run plays is what I had told you I had seen, but certainly they can throw the ball as well. If you're able to get that many points up on the board, you're pretty successful at it, I would imagine. So how do you try to contain that side of things? It's
tough. And like I said, because they're doing a great job play calling. So whoever's doing that for them is doing a dynamic job of setting things up. Obviously, if you run the football that efficiently, one of the hardcore things you can do is you can play action pass. They have a receiver who is probably one of the best track stars in the nation. He's a 6'10" or 6'11" high jumper. Okay, he's a junior, so we get to see him for a couple of years. I want to say his last name's Nesbitt. I don't want to mess that up, for one, and mispronounce it, but number 2 is, as I said, but he's number 1. And so he's a 6'2", 180-pound wide receiver that can high jump 6'10". I've 6'10". I look up at it and I can go under it. That's about it. Okay, so it's unbelievable that a body can get that high and up over something. So he's a special athlete, obviously, one of the number 1 recruits in the nation at that, high jump. So they do a great job with it. Quarterback, just a sound football player. Sturdy man. He's a leader. You can tell. You can watch the way he handles himself, calm, cool, and collective. He's not a special guy. He ain't going to go play no Division I football, but I'm telling you, he does a great job leading their team, go along with the run game. So he's handing the ball off. Yeah, but it's a read game. He can take it anytime he wants. They do a great job. So that's another deal. It's like defense in the option, okay? Got to have people accounting for it. And then, like I said, very efficient thrower. They're not going to go win football games with them tossing the ball all around the field. Hopefully we can make them do that. But when they do it, they do it really, really well.
Now, you talked about that Owasso game, that they were able to reestablish the offensive line and able to get a good push against the Tiger defensive line.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, that was late in a long ball game, but as things come in with a fresh pair of legs going up against Yukon, how do you establish yourselves in the trenches?
It's the same thing, and I think we got a little fatigued, and we started, instead of using technique, we started kind of seeing a peak and try to make a play instead of just doing what we're supposed to do, doing our job. So it will stay consistent again. If these guys are going to get 70 snaps, we're going to have some difficulty stopping them. I'm just going to be honest with you. That means they're having some success running the football, keeping us on the field, and it's just what it is. If we can get them off the field, not do stupid things to keep them on the field, to go along with it, I think our kids, just like we did the first half of the Owasso, where I felt like we controlled the line, I think we'll do a good job. And we're going to give them multi-fronts. We're going to make them work on they're not going to be able to lock in on anything. And so we'll give them a lot of multi-fronts to make sure that they stay honest with what they're trying to do. And like I said, it's making sure let's keep their run game at 3 or less per carry.
My final question to you for this week's episode is just about traveling. You did that for the first 2 weeks of the season, and one thing that's always a big test is how well you travel.
Yeah.
You obviously came back 1-1 from those 2 road trips from Arkansas, and it was an overtime finish in that Fayetteville game. This game, you go back on the road after a couple of home games, after a bye week. What are you expecting to see from this team on the road?
It's a good question. I like to think it's, again, advantageous. It's good, solid 2-hour trip. But that's opportunity to be with your teammates, to relax, get off your feet. It's very hard to run around and act like a bonehead on a bus, okay? So those things are good. And I think sometimes it really does it resolves a lot of the other outside activities. You'll have a far few of those as we make a trip over there, leaving at 2:15 in order to get out of our own traffic here on our campus, much less heading to the Oklahoma City area, trying to beat that a little bit before the 5 o'clock rush over there too. So we'll get over there a little early, and I just think that will allow us to focus in on what we're really trying to get accomplished, which is go and win a football game. So I feel like we'll travel well. I know our fans will travel well. They always do. And so we're looking forward to that opportunity to go over there into the Oklahoma City area and see if we can actually Western Oklahoma, suburban Western Oklahoma City, and see if we can come up with a football win.
Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Game starts at 7 o'clock. Our pregame show on Aerovision starts at 6:30. If you can't make the road trip all the way out to Miller Stadium, you can tune in with us. We'll have the game for you live. Looking forward to this one, Coach. Thanks for joining me here on Inside Tiger Football. We'll see you next week after the Yukon game, and look forward to the Edmond Santa Fe homecoming game.